The air on Manaimi was thick with the scent of metallic ore and the distant hum of ancient mining equipment. Ben Solo, no longer a child, but not yet the man he was destined to become, stood beside his uncle, Luke Skywalker. His foot tapped an impatient rhythm against the rough, reddish soil, a silent protest against the stillness. They'd been here for what felt like cycles, observing, waiting, while local factions squabbled over mineral rights. Luke seemed content to simply be, to listen, to gauge the shifting tides of discontent. Ben, however, felt a restless energy thrumming beneath his skin, a desire for action, for resolution. "Uncle Luke," Ben finally ventured, his voice a low grumble, "how much longer must we simply watch? The ore shipments are halted, the people are suffering, and all we do is meditate." He gestured vaguely at the landscape, a sweeping movement that encompassed both the desolate mines and their own seeming inaction. Luke, his gaze still fixed on a distant smoke-belching refinery, offered a gentle smile without turning. "Patience, Ben. True understanding often blossoms in the quiet moments, not in the clamor of a fight. We're not here to impose our will, but to help them find their own path to peace. That takes time and trust." Ben bristled. Trust? He longed for it, yearned for it, but felt consistently denied it. He'd wanted to intervene, to use his burgeoning abilities to force a swift resolution, but Luke had always held him back. But what if they don't find it? What if this just escalates? We could do something. We should do something. His frustration was a tangible thing, a hot ember in his chest. He felt like a burden, an unready apprentice to be kept out of the real work, rather than a partner. This feeling, this deep-seated sense of impatience and a yearning for tangible responsibility, wasn't unique to Manaimi. It was a recurring theme across the galaxy, on mission after mission Luke took his nephew on. In the nascent New Republic era, Luke Skywalker understood that the Jedi's role had to evolve. No longer just warriors of the Old Republic, they needed to be guardians, peacekeepers, diplomats, weaving a fabric of stability across a galaxy still scarred by war. He believed Ben needed to see this wider universe, to understand the nuanced responsibilities that came with power, to grasp that the Force was about more than just lightsaber duels or dramatic confrontations. He sought to instill in Ben a deep sense of compassion, an appreciation for the intricate dance of galactic politics and planetary cultures. But Ben, young, powerful, and keenly aware of the dark echoes in his own lineage, often interpreted these lessons differently. For him, the patient negotiations, the quiet observations, the long waits for a breakthrough felt less like vital training and more like deliberate sidelining. He saw Luke as holding him back, protecting him, not just from danger, but from responsibility. Each time he was asked to observe rather than act, each time Luke stepped in to mediate a delicate situation while Ben watched, a small seed of inadequacy was sown. He wasn't being taught to trust the Force, he was being taught that he wasn't trusted with the Force, not truly. He yearned to prove himself, to be seen as capable, as strong, as ready for the heavy mantle of a Jedi. This growing resentment, this feeling of being constantly underestimated by the very man meant to guide him, became fertile ground for another, far darker influence. Supreme Leader Snoke, ancient and insidious, had been watching, observing the subtle cracks forming in the relationship between master and apprentice. He didn't need to invent Ben's insecurities, he merely needed to whisper to them, to amplify the doubts that already festered. "Your uncle holds you back, doesn't he, Ben?" Snoke's telepathic voice would slither into Ben's mind during solitary moments of venomous reassurance. "He fears your true power, your potential. He sees you as a liability, not an heir. He fears what you could become if you were truly unleashed." These insidious whispers found purchase in a heart already convinced it wasn't trusted, already aching for a responsibility that felt perpetually out of reach. Snoke offered not just power, but a distorted sense of purpose, a promise of control that Luke, in his gentle guidance, had inadvertently withheld. The feeling of inadequacy, the frustration born from being untouched by real responsibility, as Ben likely perceived it, was meticulously twisted into a conviction that Luke was an impediment, a barrier to his true destiny. It's a tragic irony, isn't it? Luke Skywalker, striving with all his heart to show Ben the expansive, compassionate, and wise role of the Jedi in a healing galaxy, inadvertently fostered the very doubts that would later be weaponized against him. His noble efforts to teach patience and diplomacy were perceived as a lack of faith, a refusal to grant responsibility. The desire for trust, for purpose, twisted into resentment, then into a hunger for power, leading Ben Solo down a path from which there seemed, for a time, no return. This story reminds us that even the purest intentions, when misunderstood or miscommunicated, can have devastating, galaxy-altering consequences. What do you think? Did Luke's well-meaning missions unintentionally push Ben away, or was Ben's path to the dark side an inevitable one, regardless of his efforts? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. And if you found this exploration thoughtful, please consider following for more journeys into the lore of a galaxy far, far away.